Well, holy smokers, cowboys and cowgirls, the barrage of earnings continues on. We've had Facebook earnings. I want to talk about these. This is my biggest stock. This is my biggest position. This one matters to me more than any other stock out there. So I want to talk in depth about their earnings here today. And by the way, maybe look out for an Amazon video coming tonight, maybe on the second channel. No promises, just a possibility, okay? Let me know if you guys want that in the comment section. So I want to talk about Facebook numbers here. I want to talk about my plans with Facebook stock, if I'm going to sell the stock now, if I'm going to buy more shares, if I'm just going to hold them. I want to talk about all this, guys. So first off here, if we look at Facebook stock price today, it's making a decent upward move, about 6% plus, about $11 per share up. Now, after hours yesterday was pretty interesting with Facebook stock. At first, it was actually down. Like initially, it actually was going down a few percent, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a bad earnings. We'll have to see. Then very shortly after, it started to move up, and then it was up like a few percent, and then it slowly started to move up. Next thing you know, it was up like 10% plus after hours, up 6% today. I can't really complain about that, okay? Daily active users, let's start looking at some of these numbers here. They hit 1.56 billion daily active users. Now keep in mind, these numbers here that I'm showing you right now, they do not include Instagram. They do not include WhatsApp. They do not include Oculus, nothing like that. These are strictly Facebook daily active users, okay? I'm talking about the Facebook platform, all right? So that is nice that they're still showing daily active user growth on the Facebook platform itself, okay? That's phenomenal. And if we look at Europe actually bounced back pretty strong. They grew about 4 million users in Europe, which is obviously a great thing to see. Now, some people say, well, they're at 186 million in basically, the US and Canada. Can they grow anymore? Probably not. Like 186 million daily active users. That's a lot of people that are logging onto Facebook each and every day in the US and Canada. There's probably just not much more growth from a daily user perspective. At least in the US and Canada, there's only so many people that live here, right? Okay. Monthly active users. Once again, this is not taking into account Instagram. This is not taking into account WhatsApp or Oculus or any of those type of things. Monthly active users grew nearly 200 million year over year. That's very strong growth. Once again, this is only the Facebook platform we're talking about here. It's approaching 2.4 billion monthly active users. If we look at the numbers, where's a lot of that growth coming from? A lot of that growth is coming from Asia Pacific and from the rest of world, right? US and Canada, not much growth there. Slight growth in Europe overall, all right? Now let's get to some of these financial metrics. The revenue up to over $15 billion in Q1 2019 versus the same quarter last year. It was under $12 billion of revenue. Unbelievable revenue growth Facebook is continuing to show, and they should continue to show these type of numbers over time, basically as more and more advertisers come onto the Facebook platforms. And not only that, Instagram is a massive advertising opportunity now that a lot of companies are looking at, and WhatsApp maybe long-term, Facebook Messenger maybe long-term, and Instagram shopping, things like that should continue to raise the revenue over time. Also, ad rates should continue to climb up as basically there's more and more advertisers trying to get in front of your face if you're on Instagram or on Facebook or on any of the Facebook properties, right? There's only so much time you're scrolling and only so much time you're looking through those Instagram stories or whatever. Advertisers need to pay top dollar to try to get in front of your eyeballs, right? So needless to say, the revenue should continue to increase for years and years into the future, okay? If we look at revenue by user geography, this is really exciting. If you look at the US and Canada, look at how much that was up year over year. That was a number that impressed me the most, maybe. US and Canada went from 5.6 billion in Q1 2018 to over 7.3 billion in Q1 2019. Once again, that probably was a number that surprised me the most. Unbelievably strong growth there. I expected growth, but that type of growth is unbelievable, okay? Average revenue per user, otherwise known as ARPU, one of the most important statistics you can possibly look at when it comes to any of these social media type stocks, okay? If we look at this one on a worldwide basis, they were doing about $5.53, basically per user. They were making about $5.53. Now that's up to $6.42 in this latest quarter. If we look at the US and Canada, went from $23.59, same quarter last year, to over $30 average revenue revenue per user now they're making in Q1 of 2019. If we look at Europe, from $8.12 the same quarter last year to $9.55, very nice increase in Europe. Asia Pacific from $2.46 all the way up to $2.78 in this latest quarter. Rest of the world, they did $1.68 in the same quarter last year, all the way up to $1.89 in this most recent quarter. Okay, obviously very small numbers there. But here's one of the things that excites me the most around Facebook stock is, this is, in my personal opinion, this is where things are going over the next 5 years. Okay, I'll call this the Jeremy's 5 years out. In my personal opinion, the average revenue per user in the US and Canada is going to go to $45 to $60 over the next 5 years. And not only that, over the next 5 years, I look at Europe, and I believe Europe type numbers are going to go to the US and Canada. Okay, so Europe right now brings under, a little under $10 essentially average revenue per user. I think that's going to go to $20 to $30 over the next 5 years. So that's going to increase dramatically, at least 2x in my opinion. Asia Pacific right now is a region that's bringing in a little less than $3 average revenue per user over the next 5 years. I think that's going to go to somewhere where Europe's at, the $8 to $10 range. And then rest of the world right now brings in less than $2 average revenue per user. I think that's going to go to where Asia Pacific's at, somewhere around, getting close to like a $3 type rate if we look at a long term. So needless to say, I think there's massive growth in the average revenue per user coming over in future years. It's obviously, continuing on, and I think it will continue on for several years into the future, okay? If we look at expenses as a percent of revenue, we're going to find something very, very whacked out here, right? If we look, it's 27% general and administrative expenses as a percent of revenue, compared to historically it's been like a 6 to 8% number. The same quarter last year, it was at 6%. Why is this? Well, they basically they put aside $3 billion for legal expenses with the whole FTC situation and whatnot. I get questions about this all the time, and basically, yeah, Facebook's just a massive company. They're going to get fined every once in a while because they're going to make a mistake, either on purpose or somebody's going to hack into their system and they have to pay a fine or something like that. It's just the cost of doing business when you become a Goliath company like Facebook is. And, a few $1 billion, it's not fun to leave your company, but at the same time, it's the cost of doing business, okay? If we look at income from operations, it was absolutely destroyed, down to $3.3 billion in Q1 2019 versus in Q1 2018 it was 5.4, but once again, that's because of $3 billion one-time cost, a legal expense there. Operating profit obviously looks awful here, okay? Coming in at a 22% number versus 46% in the same quarter last year. Once again, that's because of $3 billion expense. And lastly, the net income came in at $2.4 billion versus 4.9 previous year. Once again, that's because of $3 billion cost. And not only the $3 billion cost, but also the fact that Facebook has hired mass amounts of employees over the past year. They're paying all those salaries, all those, costs that come with hiring employees and whatnot. It's a massive cost to the company. So that also hurts net income. But needless to say, if you just added back in that $3 billion one-time cost, you still would have done $5.4 billion in net income. So needless to say, that's a good number overall, especially when you take into account the spending that Facebook is doing right now. Look at capital investments. So there's something that's exciting here about capital investments. So if you look at the annual numbers, basically 2017 to 2018, they over 2x'd their capital investments. That is starting to slow down. If we look at Q1 2018 versus Q1 2019, obviously still a big increase, over $1 billion, but it's not a 2x plus, right? So that is good that the rate that they're spending on capital investments and whatnot is starting to slow a bit now at this point in time. And also, I think the amount of employees the company is adding is starting to slow. So I think all that's good. That is good news for the company overall. Over looking at 2020 and past, that net income should start dramatically rising again in 2020 and past. Okay. Now, if we look at this here, okay, this is very exciting. They estimate that more than 2.1 billion people now use Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or Messenger, our family of services, every day on average, and around 2.7 billion people use at least one of the family of services each month. Like, holy smokes, guys, on a planet that has got about 7 billion people, okay? About 7 billion people. Facebook has about 2.7 billion people using at least one of their properties. I think long term, they can probably get up to maybe like half the planet. Maybe they can get up to 3.5 billion or somewhere like that if we're looking at like a 5-year basis or something like that. But who knows? Maybe someday they could have literally all 7 2.7 billion people on the face of the earth like using at least one of Facebook properties. I'm not sure about that, but that's unbelievable scale. 2.7 billion people are using at least one of Facebook's properties each and every day. Okay, that is incredible. If we look at Facebook's balance sheet, it doesn't really get much better than this. Well, maybe Google, but other than Google, it doesn't get much better than this. $34 billion in marketable securities, over $11 billion in cash, and no debt on that balance sheet. That is unbelievable, okay? So needless to say, as far as my feeling on these earnings, then we'll get into my, if I'm gonna buy stock, sell stock, things like that. But my feelings on the earnings overall, they were decent. There was nothing that really like super blew me away that I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing earnings. And there was nothing that really disappointed me. Like I was like, dang man, this is a bad earnings or something like that. It was just kind of like, it was an okay earnings. Like I don't have anything really super great to say about the earnings. I don't have anything super bad. Everything was kind of expected, like how I expected it. So the question is like, am I gonna buy Facebook stock? Am I gonna sell Facebook stock? Or am I kind of holding? If I look at Facebook right now, it's a stock that I feel is still undervalued at this point in time. If we look at the trailing P, we're at about 25, a forward P about 22. Once again, I believe in 2020 and past, Facebook's net income is going to start increasing dramatically again because a lot of these, one-time costs are going to be out of the way, and a lot of these, insane ads to basically, kind of pull down their net income here over the last couple of years. I think that's just going to be slowing in a big way while their revenue continues to kind of skyrocket at a 15 to 25% rate per quarter. So needless to say, I think Facebook is still significantly undervalued here. However, I'm not going out there to buy more Facebook shares at this point in time. I feel comfortable with the stake I have in Facebook. It's my biggest position in the entire stock market. I feel very comfortable. Am I going out there and selling Facebook stock? Absolutely not. For me right now, personally, since it's already my biggest position and I feel like comfortable where I'm at, for me, it's just a hold at this point in time. Like I said, I still think the company's undervalued. I'm just not looking to buy more shares because there are other stocks in the stock market as well that I feel are undervalued, and I never want to get too crazy big on my Facebook position because Facebook for me is by far and away my biggest position in the entire stock market. So I don't want to get too carried away where that one's completely like obliterates like all the other stocks in terms of how much money I have in that one. It's already by far my biggest position. So that's where I'm at, not buying, not selling. I'm just holding my Facebook shares, and I plan to continue to for quite a while into the future, guys. So loving what Facebook's putting up there for numbers and loving how they're handling all the situations they kind of put themselves in. So it's not easy stuff to kind of handle, especially when you got 2.7 billion people using your services each and every day. Like that type of scale is just not normal. Okay. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy this. As always, let me know your opinion on Facebook stock down there in that comment section. By the way, make sure you maybe check out my other channel. Might have an Amazon earnings video coming tonight. No promises. Might. Okay. Thank you for watching and have a great day.